Hello and welcome to 2022 and the fourth episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we are going to discuss what we've been playing lately, and with it being a new year, we are going to go over our top 5 games we'd each like to knock off our shelf of shame. But before we get started, it's been a while since we've seen each other. It's good to see you guys. Happy New Year.
It's been like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I think Happy New Year to you guys.
Haven't seen you since last year.
Yeah.
Had to throw that.
I think, Kevin, it was early December when we did our Secret Santa night.
Right.
And then Tyson, you and I played in mid-December, but it's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you guys. Everybody have good holidays.
Christmas was good. I had to drive home from Salt Lake to Denver. It was a terrible drive. Takes us about 9 hours usually. We started 9:30 and got home at 12:30 at night. So it was miserable. Other than that, fantastic.
Yeah, I saw you got a lot of games played, and I was jealous because I was sitting home. I had to be stuck inside. I got COVID for the second time. All good, all better now, but I was stuck inside. I didn't get to play any games. Tyler and I had planned to maybe play some more games, but I didn't get any.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
I got to play quite a few games with my family, so it was a good break for that. So
yeah, a lot of games played. A lot of shorter filler games, but we had a great time. So it was good. Nice to get away and relax a little bit, for sure.
So since our last episode, I mean, we got a few things to catch up on. I mean, I went and saw Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And
Are you still a hater?
I don't want to spoil anything.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
None.
I enjoyed the movie thoroughly.
Few plot holes maybe, or the story.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe wasn't
how it came about was kind of okay. Seriously,
And
we
I will
just
even
fought
say
the Mad Titan, and we've learned all these things, and now we're going to do really stupid things for really stupid reasons.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
And the other thing was pacing issues. I thought there was a couple of pacing issues in the movie. Like it felt like, okay, we climbed some really funny parts and from really exciting parts, and then slowed down and like.
But overall, I thought it was awesome. Though,
but yeah,
right? Like it was, as far as experiences, like movie experiences, it was the best movie experience I've had since Endgame. Like as far as like excitement and people cheering in the theater. And did you have that in your?
No,
yours?
we didn't get that.
I did.
I did.
And the theater was full, which it was. I saw it 8 or 9 days after it came out, and it was still full.
Same with mine, yeah.
Oh, you had no cheering.
But there was no cheering, which I was a little bit surprised about.
Right.
There was a lot of laughing in mine too. Like there were so many little funny quippy jokes that were really good.
There was a guy behind me that clearly he had an insight into some of the jokes that I missed because he laughed at everything. Like I was like, I don't get that one. But
these things are funny, I guess, right?
There was a pop culture reference or two that was over my head. So.
Sounds like you're a curmudgeon.
It's possible.
No wonder you like Krampus more than Santa Claus.
I think I liked seeing Dune more than.
Well, that's a shocker.
I was on the edge of my seat in every scene in that theater. Spider-Man was really good.
Beats Dune for me.
I think Spider-Man beats Dune for me as well.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. And again, we've talked about it's my favorite superhero Marvel based, and it had so many like great nuggets from everything I love about Spider-Man that like and there's no spoilers in the fact that it pulls in pieces. If you watch that trailer, it pulls in pieces from everything that you've seen of Spider-Man so far, and it just made it really exciting in a way that I absolutely loved.
And there was a certain character that was introduced that I can't talk about without spoiling, but that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Sorry for the vagueness, but there's a crossover into the MCU that was pretty dang cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. It was a good movie. I agree there were some pacing issues, but it was a good movie.
No, I'm
glad you could finally admit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you're not a Spider-Man hater.
Well, it was probably the best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
I would agree with that.
That's a low bar for you, though.
Yeah.
That's like, that's good. That's good.
What else do we need to talk about? What do we need to get caught up on?
Well, I mean, we've got to talk about it's a new year, right? And as a new year, we've got to come back to the fact that Tyler can buy games again.
Oh,
That's
right.
right.
And I got a question for you. How long into the new year did it take you to buy a game?
So it was actually about 2 hours before midnight.
Okay.
I realized, hey, it's New Year's on the
Somewhere.
East Coast.
You could have gone by like Australia time with that logic.
I might have done that as well with an earlier purchase. I bought Happy Salmon from Target. I had to go pick that up. I felt like
you needed to apologize for that one, though, right?
they only, I did a little bit because it was a little bit before the end of the year. But I mean, if it costs less than a fast food
Here
meal,
come the
Another
caveats
caveat.
again. Here they come.
oh my gosh!
Now we have a $1 threshold. That's
Yeah.
okay.
So this is
$15 isn't real money. Come on.
Hey, I mean, Happy Salmon. It's not in stock everywhere. It's hard to find.
Okay, Grail game, right? Grail
Right.
game. Okay.
Yep. So
Continue.
had to get that one. That was only a few bucks.
Had to.
I used credits that I had with Boardlandia.
Doesn't count because it's
Doesn't
not real
count.
money.
Doesn't count. It's
buy-
not real money, right? Yeah. Got it.
To order Tabanusi.
Okay, well,
Bilderberg.
good.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
purchase. Good purchase.
I backed a Kickstarter a couple hours before midnight, and that was the Shikoku, I think 1889, maybe.
Right, and that one
right.
doesn't count because the Kickstarter doesn't actually take the money out until after the new year.
Exactly.
So he's
Whoa,
not.
yeah, you could have been backing
could have backed a
Kickstarters all the way
million
through
Kickstarters.
December.
Yeah.
I could have, but
Loophole.
I was trying to remain true.
Okay.
In either case, I went from October 20th till about December 28th without buying a game. That's pretty
That is
good
very,
for me.
very admirable.
Yes.
That is actually very
Yeah.
good. Considering your past in buying games.
This is
I mean,
true.
you went through a 2-year stretch of
Well, I had to.
pretty much uncontrolled board game buying.
That's true. There were,
But you built up your collection. It was great.
So, there is one more thing I wanted to mention, and this is not lighthearted. I think all of us for several years at least have listened to The Secret Cabal, and recently it was announced that Jamie, was in the hospital, and they found a cancerous tumor along his esophagus, and he's been having health issues for a while and been talking about that on their podcast. We love The Secret Cabal. Jamie is the heart of that podcast. We don't know him. I've never met him in person, but I would say part of the reason that we are doing a podcast today is in a little bit, at least, because of him and The Secret Cabal. And we just wanted to wish him and his family and friends and everybody that's in his circle all the best. And, all of us and anybody who's listening to this podcast has experienced what cancer is like and with somebody in their lives. And, we just send out a heartfelt, hey, we're thinking about you. We're praying for you. And we hope everything gets better soon and that we get to hear Jamie back on The Secret Cabal soon.
Yeah, part of my ritualistic drive to work, which is like a 45-minute drive, is getting a third of the Secret Cabal podcast out of the way. So seeing that Kevin mentioned it to us and I hadn't seen it yet, and then I saw it on social media, Jamie's little post about it, and yeah, heart just dropped immediately. I don't know Jamie, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I know Jamie,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I know many listeners of The Secret Cabal feel similarly, and it's as if somebody you care about tremendously, whether or not you've actually met the person, is going through something hard, and that's always difficult. And so I echo everything that Tyler's just said, and we're thinking of The Secret Cabal and want to make sure that everything goes well there.
Yeah, it's I was going to mention that, Tyson, as well. It's like you almost feel like you know those guys.
Yeah.
You listen to them so much and their banter back and forth. And our heart goes out to them for sure. And like Tyler mentioned, a lot of what we're doing right now, like we were influenced hugely by them wanting to do this podcast and the things that they do, and how they operate their podcast is just great. So we wish nothing for the best for Jamie and his family and hope he has a speedy recovery for sure.
Well, that was a little bit heavy-hearted, and we know that, but we felt it appropriate to pay tribute to the Secret Cabal. But with that, let's move on to a little bit of what we've been playing lately.
So I've been playing quite a few games, like I mentioned. One of those games is a game called Cascadia. So this is kind of been getting a lot of buzz lately. It was a 2021 release. It's designed by Randy Flynn, and art is done by Beth Sobel of Wingspan fame. So Cascadia, it's a puzzle, tile laying, and token drafting game, and it's set in the Pacific Northwest region of the U.S. and Canada. So the way this game plays, you have a set of scoring cards that you take out. So think like Kingdom Builder, if you've played Kingdom Builder. These are the ways that you're going to score at the end of the game, and you're working towards that for the entire game. So there's 5 of these. There's 5 different animals, and there are, I think, 4 or 5 different scoring cards per animal, and these are randomized. So there's just a bunch of different ways that you're going to be able to score, and every game is going to be a little bit different. So the way the game works is you have tiles and then you have tokens. So the tiles are all stacked up, and you randomly select 4 of the tiles, and then the tiles have a land feature on them, and then 1 to 3 different animals on those tiles. And then you have tokens. The tokens have 1 animal on the token. So you get 4 of these tiles, and then you pick 4 tokens randomly and match them up with those tiles. And then once your turn, you select one of those combinations, and you put the tile next to your starting tile. What you're trying to do is get, land masses, whether it's mountains or fields or forests, together and try to get the largest land mass. You get points for that. And then you're trying to position the animals where it's going to score for the endgame scoring cards. So you put your tile down, then you get the token, and you put the token on one of the animals that you've already placed down. So that's your turn. You refill, and then it goes to the next player. They do the same thing. There's ways that you can kind of break the rules. There's these pine cones that you can get where you don't have to match up, the exact token with the tile. So you can kind of break those rules a little bit. It goes around and around. Everybody is taking until you can't replace one of the tokens. And that signals the end of the game. Then you look at the end game scoring cards. You see, how well you did. It could be like bears. Bears want to be next to each other. So if you have a pair of bears here and a pair of bears there, you get more points. It could be elk. Elk want to be in a row for whatever reason. If they're in a row, you get points for how long of a row you have of elk and that type of thing. And then you count up the points. Whoever has most points wins. Super simple. It's I would consider it kind of a gateway game, but it's a really fun game, and I love it. I think it's has the potential to be one of my most played games this year. It's awesome. So
it sounds like it's got some similarities, some DNA in common with like Isle of Skye. Have you played Isle of Skye?
I haven't played that one. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of that tile laying, Carcassonne kind of fitting land masses together, and the variable scoring conditions and things like that. And Isle of Skye happens to be one of my favorite of that weight of game and time length. And I've seen a lot of pictures of this one. I've seen a lot of people posting about it and talking about it. And it's one that I've wanted to try. And on top of that, I think Flat Out Games, the publisher for this one, has been knocking it out of the park. They did Point Salad and partnered with AEG on that one. And they've done a few other ones. And they have a great track record right now, and they seem to get this like lighter gateway weight games and just hone in on that.
Kevin, you like Azul. I mean, how would you compare this to Azul as far as gateway games? And
as far as weight goes, it's a little bit heavier than Azul. I mean, Azul's really straightforward. It's got some great strategy and interaction with the people next to you for sure. I think I think Azul is probably going to appeal to more people than this one. But I mean, this one's fantastic. I think anybody who gives it a shot, I think is going to like it. It's very accessible. I mean, the theme is great. I mean, the theme's not going to put off anybody, right? Who doesn't like animals, right?
I like animals, Tyson. Don't look at me.
What do you have against animals?
Jeez.
Man.
He looks at me like I don't like animals because I don't like Toby. Whatever.
You don't like a lot of things. There's a lot of things you don't like. So I just figured if anybody wasn't going to like animals, it's got to be you.
Animals are awesome.
Well, in the
Mother Earth is awesome.
You wholeheartedly support Mother Earth.
I do.
Good job. Well, then you'll love this game.
Awesome.
I do have one follow-up question. So you were saying that there's interaction in Azul, right? The players to your left or right. There's a lot of interaction in that regard. But I don't know. This sounded almost like it was more solitaire.
Well, the only interaction is I'm taking something somebody else might want. So everybody knows what the scoring cards are. So like I mentioned the bears one before, right? So you're trying to get, for one of them, you're trying to get sets of bears together. So it's random when you pull out the tokens. If somebody pulls out a bear, then you're going to want that bear probably. So you're going to take it. You'll take it before the next person. So it's like any, worker placement games are the same way. Sometimes there's not a lot of interaction other than I'm taking the spot you want to go to. And that's similar to what this is. I'm taking the token or the tile that I know you may want. That's pretty much the only interaction in the game.
I think that's kind of a hallmark though of a gateway game for the most part, right? Like you're trying to not alienate the people around you as much.
You don't want a cutthroat.
Yeah.
Gateway game.
Unless that's exactly what you're going for.
Well,
like a smirk and
I'm
dagger
sure,
kind of game.
Yeah, there's some of those too, right? But it's not going to appeal to the wider audience.
Right.
Yeah. You want to appeal to as many people as you can. So I thought it was great. Like I said, I think I'm going to get it to the table quite a bit this next year.
Cool.
So
I'll play it.
That's Cascadia.
So one of the games that I've been playing a lot with my family over the holiday break is a newer card game by AEG called 10. And 10 is a push your luck card game. You're drawing one card at a time. The game ends when the draw pile is exhausted, kind of like Point Solid, which is also by AEG. When you're drawing cards, you will draw currency cards from the draw pile. There's also number cards, and then there's wild cards. And as long as you don't bust, you can keep going until you decide to stop. You bust if the total value of the currency cards is more than 10, or if the total value of the number cards minus the currency value cards is more than 10. And then if you don't bust, you have the choice of either taking the currency or taking the numbers, which you can then add to your sequence. If you take the numbers, you can also buy a card from the market. However, the other players at the table get that value of currency. And if you take the currency, the numbers get added to the market. You're trying to get sequences in each of the 4 colors. And the longer the sequence in each color, the more points you score. So you score 1 point per card in each of the longest sequences in each color. If you happen to get 1 through 9 in a sequence, you'll score a bonus point for that color. If a person flips over a wild card, their turn immediately pauses, and there's a quick 1-round auction where you can use your currency or your money and any maybe duplicate cards that you have in your sequences to bid for that wild card. Whoever bids the most wins the card, and then the current player's turn resumes. It's a super fun game. I really like it. It's been a blast playing it. For me, the immediate and obvious comparison is to Point Salad, and I think it'll be a long time before Point Salad makes it to the table again in our house because the 10 is awesome. I love that there is push your luck. I love that there's a quick little auction round in the middle of other players' turns. I love that you gain benefits from other players' turns. It's just a really fun, quick 20, 25-minute game. Just a lot of fun. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be getting to the table quite a bit in the future.
What's the player count?
It's 2 to 5 players.
I was at the game shop in Salt Lake over Christmas, and I had the game in my hand. I was thinking about buying it, didn't pull the trigger. kind of wishing I did now.
Dan gave it to me in our Secret Santa group or gift exchange. I got 10 and Anno 1800. So I haven't gotten that to the table yet, but I did get to play 10, and it's fun. So
you've mentioned it a number of times that you've played it a number of times, and just like you were saying, Point Salad for me, I love what it does. And if this is better than Point Salad, if it is the same weight, the same experience, but it's better, I absolutely want to try it.
Yeah, I think it's more engaging. And, Point Salad, you're collecting set collection. And this one, you're trying to build sequences in each color. And there's just more going on. The push your luck creates more interesting decisions. There are times in Point Salad where the person before you goes and flips over cards, and there's nothing that you want. There's no point cards that are good.
You can't even flip over a point card to get something that you want.
Right. Yeah. And then the vegetables that are out are like, well, if I take that, I'm taking -8 points. And I don't know. It's part of the game. I get it. But for me, 10 is more
I love
engaging.
Point Salad for the fact that I can play it with my 4-year-old.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like my 4-year-old can play it.
That's awesome.
This sounds a little bit more complex than this, but my 4-year-old can play it. And in fact, you look at my BG stats, because I've started tracking all of his gameplays that I play with him as well. And he beats me way more than I beat him. And so I love that about Point Salad, but that's a personal thing.
A bonus for Point Salad for me is that it plays more.
Yes,
than
higher
4.
player count, 6, right?
I think it goes up to 6. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. I'd be interested in trying this if you ever brought it as a filler game or whatever between games or what.
I mean, I'd be up for playing it after we finish recording this episode. So,
all right,
episode over.
Let's go. No, this one I will end up buying this one. There's no question in my mind.
Wait. Do we have a new Tyler on our hands?
Oh, no. I'm way past those days. I have no room left. I have to start culling games now. I mean, that's going to be one thing I'm going to focus on, I think, in the next few months is the games that aren't getting played, that I know are not going to get played, I think are going to be leaving, so I can have room for stuff I'm playing.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our shelf of shame later, but I'm going to try and cut mine in half by selling some games. So.
Oh, that's the way you're going to do it. Just get rid of them before you play them.
Yeah, there are quite a few that I'm like, why did I buy
New
this?
Intrigue.
You bought them because they were on sale.
It's true.
Yeah, right.
So and there are a couple of steals in there, but
it took me a long time to get over that mindset.
Yeah,
because like a crappy game is still a crappy game, even if it's cheap.
Yes.
One that I've recently become heavily invested in is Final Girl, which is a Kickstarter that recently fulfilled, and I missed the Kickstarter. I looked at it and I was like, oh, I really like this. I've always wanted to play Hostage Negotiator, which is the game system that this is built around. But I wanted that whole Hostage Negotiator experience, and you can't hardly find that anymore. So when this was going, I thought, oh, I'll get in on the Kickstarter, and something made me not end up doing it. So eventually being now, this Kickstarter is fulfilling, and I just went in and I purchased everything for it. I ended up spending like over $200 on this, which
that's pricey.
It's significant, especially
for a solo game, right?
Your credits from selling Ankh. So,
right.
I mean, did you really?
It's not real money.
Yeah, it doesn't count. I had just recently sold Ankh and bought a board game table and other stuff. So it
definitely
there's no net like positive here.
Your wife, it counts, right?
Yeah, it counts. Definitely counts. But it's significant because this is a solo only game. Like, I'm not playing this game with anybody else, but I've played it 4 times already. And what's cool about this game is you have to buy what's called the core box. The core box is just this generic box that has a bunch of basic components in it. It has some meeples, it has some dice, it has some basic components that you'll use in every game. But you can't play the core box without having what's called a feature film box. And a feature film box is going to include a final girl, hence the title, who you will be playing as. It'll include a villain in the vein of your horror tropey types of villains, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, etc. So, and then in addition to those 2 things, it also comes with a specific location. And every single one of those things are interchangeable. So the more feature film boxes you get, the more you can interchange these things. So you can create your own horror tropes. One is in a mansion that is a haunted mansion, and you can put Jason Voorhees type of character in that. Or another one is in like a circus, and you can have a villain that has puppets and like kind of a Chucky kind of vibe going on there. You can have all of these things interchange, and you can switch your final girl. Every final girl feature film box comes with 2 different final girls, and they each have a unique ability and kind of play differently each way. So this game is incredibly variable. The more you get, the more interchangeable it becomes, and the more it the experience is going to be. I recently actually, after I bought all of this, they reprinted what's called the Lore and Scenario book, which I didn't realize existed. And I ended up buying that as well, which creates specific scenarios and a campaign which you can run through. So like the whole thing is just like this huge thematic experience that does a superb job at making you feel like you're in a movie. So for example, the first game I played, I was playing as Lori in Camp Happy Trails. And that's just like any horror movie where you're starting in a cabin in the woods style thing, right? And we had Hans, who is this cannibalistic axe murderer who's coming after you. In Camp Happy Trails, the location, there's a bunch of different locations on the boards that you can go to, and there's a bunch of potential victims that are there. So as the final girl, I'm trying to spread the word, hey, get out of here. There's a crazy axe murderer coming to kill everybody. And so I'm trying to rescue as many victims as possible. The more victims I rescue, the more benefits I get, and eventually I can unlock a special ability for my final girl that does something super cool and unique to that final girl. But my ultimate goal is I'm trying to kill the villain. So my first turn, though, and I was like, oh, I got to run to this campfire where there's a bunch of victims hanging around this campfire telling stories. And I can see that Hans is coming close, and he's going to come right to this campfire and slaughter all of these people. And so I played a card called Walk that I rolled my dice, and my result was I ultimately fell straight on my face. So my first thing was...
You failed at walking?
I failed at walking. And
that's terrible.
I fell right on my face, and I couldn't rescue these people. And Hans, the axe murderer, comes and just slaughters everybody in that campsite. And it was just this like really like visceral kind of experience. And every game I've played like that has these really thematic kind of elements to it. And they all are very evocative in what they're doing in this game. But so far, after 4 plays of it, I'm really, really enjoying this experience. There are a couple of things that I don't really like necessarily. It can get a little samey. You're doing the same sequence over and over again, which ultimately doesn't bother me because of the thematic nature, but that can be there. And then there's just a few other things here and there that aren't always the most amazing experience, but that's like 5% of the time. The other 95%, I'm loving this game.
So when you play through a scenario, does it lose something if you go back to it because you know the story already, or does it change up that much? You said you can mix and match everything. It's just completely new every time.
Even if you have just one feature film box, like you're saying, maybe you're just playing with the same story, the same scenario, same characters over and over. The setup changes every single time. There's a terror deck that you're only using 10 of about maybe 30 cards in it. So you're never using the same combinations of cards. You only are using maybe 1 out of 15, 20 different event cards, 1 to 3, depending on that. Your items are always going to be different. You're going to have an item deck that's unique to every location, and you're going to have a bunch of different variables that come into play.
So the answer to my question is no.
That's really cool.
Emphatically
no. Yeah, it's like, okay.
So my wife Shelly loves horror movies, and I know you guys have talked about this game, and she's excited to borrow it and play it. This is right up her alley.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she'll love that.
And I can't wait to get her perspective on it. I need to hand it over, but I wanted to try the last feature film box before I did that. But I think that
because you spent a lot on it and you want to get
exactly. I want to get a fair amount out of this.
I think I saw that they commented that their season 2 is gonna be kickstarted coming up here
as we're recording. I think it's coming out next week, actually. So
are you in on that?
January 11th, I believe, is when the Kickstarter is. I don't know that I need to be because I've already invested a heavy amount and I've got so much in there. I have to wait to see what the Kickstarter includes.
You need to find some credits somewhere.
That's what you need. I did get a holiday bonus. So, I mean.
Hey. Oh, nice. Okay. How come you didn't bring dinner tonight?
Because I thought that was your task, mister. I'll spend money wherever I can.
Good.
What the heck?
Cool. That sounds awesome.
So, yeah, that's Final great. Girl. I'm loving it. I think that if you like solo-only games, this is definitely worth checking out.
I have to admit, when I first heard the name of the game, I'm like, that's kind of a weird name.
Yeah,
you know?
Final Girl. But it's
Final
the
Girl?
total trope.
It's the trope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final Girl. I love it.
All right. Another game I've been playing is it's a game by one of my favorite designers, and that's Tom Lehman. He's designed, all of the games in the Race for the Galaxy series. I've played all of them. I own all of them. They're great. The one that I played over the holiday break was Roll for the Galaxy. Roll for the Galaxy is a action selection, dice game, engine building game, tableau builder type of game. It's been out for a while now. It's one of my most played games, so I'm glad we were able to get it out. I haven't played it for a while, but we got it and played it twice over the break, like I said. Race for the Galaxy or Roll for the Galaxy, what you do is you have a pool of dice that you're going to roll. You roll those dice, and then behind a screen, there are 5 different actions that you can select. The faces on all of the dice correspond to those 5 different actions. So you roll the dice and you organize based on what you roll and the actions. You can select one of those actions, and you're assured to get that action on your turn. Everybody else is doing the same thing. They select an action, and then you reveal. Only those actions that were selected by people actually happen in that round. So it could be settling, for example, or developing or producing. Those that don't get selected get flipped over, and any dice that you had allocated towards those columns go back into your cup, and you just don't get to do that action. So it goes through, you do the actions, you settle, you develop, you do all the things, and then it just starts over again. You're going to get settlements out, you're going to get planets out, you're trying to get synergies with what you have, so that's the engine building part. And then whoever gets to 12 settlements and developments, or the victory point pool runs out, wins. So it's very much a race to get to 12, or it's a race to get that victory point pool gone as quickly as possible. And whoever can do that most efficiently is going to win. So we had the expansion in there. The expansion adds goals as well, which is a little wrinkle to it, which is a lot of fun. What I love about this game is trying to figure out what everybody else is going to do and leech off of their actions. So if you know somebody is got to settle this planet, then you can take a little bit of a chance because you need to settle too, but you also want to produce maybe. You select produce, they reveal, they did settle. You're like, all right, I get to settle as well, type of thing. So that's my favorite part of the game, is doing that. The engine building is also a lot of fun, but really the interaction between the players and trying to figure out what they're going to do and then being right is the cool part.
It feels so good when you guess right?
Right.
And especially in like a 4-player game. Like when you get to do even more actions, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was playing with my brother-in-law, and he burned me so bad at the end. I was getting in my own head. So I produced, and then the cool thing about Roll for the Galaxy as opposed to Race, I like Race as well, but the produce comes before the trade in Roll. So you can produce and trade in the same turn. So you can produce and then, consume for victory points or trade for money. And he looked at my, what I had going, and he's like, well, he's probably going to produce. And I had all my stuff set up and produce, and I was going to trade on the same turn, but I'm like, yeah, I probably have one more turn. And he took a chance and did produce trade on the same turn and beat me by 10. I'm like, no. So he totally beat me at my own game, which it was cool to see. He did awesome in that game, but that's the kind of things that you experience in the game that is really cool.
Those interactions, I think, are the best part of the game. I've only played the game once physically, and then I've played once on BGA. And playing it on BGA, I was just like, I don't understand what's going on other people's turns as well, and it's hard to see because I think you're right. The interaction is that most exciting and unique part of that game that makes it so valuable. So when I play it on BGA, it was lackluster for me, and I was like, I need to play this on the table again.
It does lose something on BGA for sure. It's still fun. I still enjoy it, but it's better in person, I think. Anyway. So that's another one I played. It's Roll for the Galaxy.
So I was also going to talk about a Tom Lehman game. I finally got the Perlae Imperii expansion for Res Arcana. And Res Arcana is a tableau building, card drafting, deck management game where you're trying to score 10 points before anybody else does by manipulating your cards to gain resources and to convert those resources to points and to buy locations that allow you to get more points called places of power. So I'm really excited to play Perlae Imperii, which added some new cards, new places of power, new monuments, a new resource, pearls. And it also increases the required score up to 13 to trigger endgame. Loved it. It's a blast. It barely adds any complexity at all to Res Arcana, which I love, but at the same time, you get to experience new cards, and I still haven't seen all the new cards or all the new mages. It's just a lot of fun. And like I said, it doesn't add really any complexity at all to the game. So you pick right up where you last played with 3 minutes of going over the new rules. So,
I love expansions like that.
Yes.
That just add more of a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. You already like the game, so you just want more of it, right?
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
This Res Arcana is Tom Lehman, and it's by Sandcastle Games, and I sure hope that they have more planned. I don't know if they do. I haven't seen any announcements. I know that the original tray in the original box was clearly designed to hold a couple of expansions very specifically. Things fit in there. So I'm hoping there's more nooks and crannies in there that I haven't discovered that might hold more expansions.
Those pearls look really pretty too. Like you sent a picture of those pearls to us, and I couldn't help but think that they looked kind of like candy. Did you have any problem with
I have
eating
not
those?
had any issues.
Or the question is, how many did you
That's
eat?
a better question.
Yeah.
I did not have any issues. So that was a one-time thing for the record. 36 years of gaming. One time.
One time you chomped on that egg.
Yeah. Anyway, no, and the pearls are cool. They're not a complete sphere. They have a flat side on one side so that they don't roll around everywhere if you're playing on a table that is not vaulted.
Cool. No, that sounds awesome. I'm excited to play. That's another one that I'll end up purchasing.
Well, at least it's a game that you own and you like. You're not buying whimsically stuff that you're not sure whether or not, and you have a list of games that you're going to sell back because you never touched them.
I don't know to whom you are referring to.
Neither do I.
No whimsical purchases over here.
No, I've never done anything whimsical in my life, Tyson.
Doesn't sound like you at all. Anyway, something that is not whimsical at all is the next game that I'd like to talk about because it's purely academic. The game that I'm talking about is The Search for Planet X. And this is a game that has the theme of you are an astronomer searching for another planet within our solar system. And you're doing research papers, you're doing all of this academic style effort, and it sounds super lame, potentially.
It does.
I mean, writing research papers is not up there.
To me, that sounds so exciting.
Not whimsical, that's for sure.
I love the idea of astronomy. I love the idea of science-based space exploration.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I love Star Trek, which is not like it's within the realms of some of that, but like I love the idea of what don't we know is out there. And so this theme for me really is exciting, even though it's probably a really, really dry theme. But this is a game for 1 to 4 players, published by Foxtrot and Renegade Games, and it's designed by Matthew O'Malley and Ben Rossett. I was fortunate that this is the game that Tyler gave me for our Secret Santa exchange, and I was so pleased to receive this. This was probably my number 1 game on my wish list for a really long time. What this game is it's a pure deduction logic-based game, in that each time you play, every player in front of you gets a individual score sheet type of a thing. You also get a player screen, and then there's a main board. The main board is showing the night sky, and you each are astronomers in different parts of the world where your telescope is pointed to the night sky. So you're looking up into the night sky in specific sections, and as time goes, you can see more and more parts of the available night sky because of rotations and etc. Science. What you're trying to do is deduce the location of planet X. So if you like Sudoku, or I talked about Cryptid recently, you like Cryptid, this is that style of game, but I think this one does it even better.
I would hope so, because
you didn't like
I
Cryptid.
wasn't a big Cryptid fan. Not saying it wasn't a well-designed game, but it just did not work for me.
I think this one would work better for you than Cryptid did, because in Cryptid, you don't have, like, in Search for Planet X, you have a score sheet and papers, and you can write down your clues. You can write down exactly what everybody else is doing on their turn and kind of get the information or deduce what other people are looking for. And so it's an easier way to parse out what is going on. Whereas in Cryptid, you're looking at the board and the information is all there for everybody, but it's who can see it better. This is all up to you, and it's like individual experience. But I've played this solo and at 3 players. I've played with Tyler and Logan as well on this game, and I loved the solo experience. It was phenomenal, but getting a multiplayer experience was even better, because as I'm putting out information into the world, the other players are gleaning information. So for me, I get a lot of I was doing a lot of legwork to try and figure out where Planet X was. And Tyler and Logan were seeing some of my theories come to fruition, but they were also making their own theories. And so, like, piecing out what they're doing versus what I was doing was able to help me see the big picture. Now, I know Tyler's going to have a complaint here in a second, and that's perfectly fine. But before he does, let me preface it by saying I love the idea that you get, as if you're putting out information and, like, discovering discoveries of where certain celestial objects are in the sky, you're getting more credit. You're getting more endgame points, essentially, because you're putting the legwork into it. But there is a downside to that. And the ultimate endgame is not the person who discovers Planet X is the winner. The end game is whoever has the most points.
I think I just figured out what Tyler has an issue with.
So go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I say anything, I want to say the app integration with this game is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Absolutely.
One of the best app integration games that I've played. I thoroughly enjoyed the play of the game and puzzling out where Planet X is, which I did successfully.
And first.
And I was 100% sure I knew where it was when I found it. Well, after you find Planet X, everybody else still gets another turn to gain points.
Maybe everybody
Let me
gets.
guess. Did you lose?
I did lose.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just that I lost, but Tyson, I mean, you stated that night after we finished that you had a chance to guess for Planet X after I guessed where it was.
Well, let me explain.
You said it was a 50-50 guess.
Exactly, but you got to go back a step and see that the fact is when you're making the deduction of where Planet X is, you can know where it is. But you're going to get a certain amount of points. So the first person to discover it is potentially going to get the most amount of points. But if you discover it before anybody else, and people are further back in turn order than you, the people further behind in turn order get an opportunity to guess.
Which could be one space.
Right. And that could be fewer points.
When you guess Planet X, you move ahead like 4 or 5 spaces. So there's a good chance that people are going to be behind you. Overall, I mean, the actual play of the game was exciting. The goal is not really to find Planet X.
The goal is to get the most
points and to get
the way
lucky
to get
in some of your guesses along the way.
Which may be on me because as a teacher, that's something that like I need to make sure that is clearly understood. And to be fair, I hadn't played it with people at that point, so I wasn't sure how the interaction between people was going to work out as much. But I did have a better understanding of the game, and it could have been something that I could have done up front to say, this is the most important part of the game.
It felt a little like I scored the winning touchdown in overtime, caught it in the end zone, but our team still lost because the other team had more passing yards during the game.
So you loved it.
No,
that's what I
loved the play. I was a little thrown off by how it broke down, and I don't really get that upset when I lose games. No. I don't. The play was really fun. The app integration was awesome. I'd definitely play this game again.
Yeah, it is tough when your expectations are something and then it's something completely different. I've experienced that a lot in games. Like Dwellings of Eldervale when we played that.
The first time
I was getting destroyed in the battles. Like I couldn't roll anything. I'm like, this
1s and 2s and
this is horrible. This is terrible. And then at the end of that game, I ended up winning. My perception of the game was that the battle was going to be more important than it was. And it kind of soured me towards that first play.
Once you have that paradigm shift and I can understand that that's not necessarily the objective, you can play more efficiently and get more joy, hopefully, out of the game.
Or Scythe. You may go into Scythe thinking that battle is super important as well, but it's just, the threat of battle in that game, right? But
that posturing is way more important than the actual combat itself.
Yeah. So once you understand that, it's probably a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, I'm excited to play it again. I would not turn this down.
I think that's
a little
fair.
Thrown off by it, but
and I do think that that's something that whoever's teaching this game, as long as you know that up front and can give that expectation to the players playing, then you can hopefully avoid that. You can't completely altogether avoid that. The onus is sometimes on the players to a certain degree, and it's hard to keep track of that in a learning game sometimes. But I do think there's some ways to mitigate that. It's one that I really like, and I'm so glad that Tyler got me this one for the Christmas exchange, because this was that I've enjoyed every single time I've played this one so far.
It is really fun, and it makes you feel really smart when you figure out the puzzles based on the clues that you have. The shorthand writing with a pencil, that's not my thing. Like
you hate that.
I hate that with a passion. But
roll and writes are not for Tyler.
Drawing
paper.
Straight lines.
Yeah, that's just not me. I like roll and writes, but
on BGA.
On BGA,
yeah, and ones that you just check a box,
write a number.
I don't need to draw my grassy fields with a hill and a tower. And
so for me, this was Search for Planet X. I loved it. Tyler liked it, could potentially like it more.
Yeah, I definitely played it again.
Well, let's get back to the whimsical and talk about this next game. It's called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
That's the epitome of whimsical.
That's the epitome of whimsical. If you've read the blog on Board Game Geek that we just started, this is my most played game of last year. I've played it. I think I played it 20 times. It's a very quick game, so it's easy to get 20 plays in, but it's my most played nonetheless. So in Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza, you have a deck of cards. There is a taco, a cat, a goat, a cheese, and a pizza. And there's also...
But wait, there's more.
There's more. There's also 3 other cards. There's a gorilla, a narwhal, and a groundhog. Okay?
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Hope you find your dad. So in the game, so you shuffle the deck, you deal out all the cards to everybody that's playing, and then the game starts. So when the first person that starts will flip over their card, and they'll say taco. It goes clockwise around the table. The next person flips over their card and says cat. And so on around the table, goat, cheese, pizza. And you keep on going around until somebody flips over the card that matches what they say. As soon as that happens, everybody smacks the deck. Whoever is on the top gets the cards. The goal of the game is to get rid of all of your cards. If one of the 3 that aren't taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza gets flipped over, you have to do an action associated with that card. So if it's a narwhal, you're going to clap your hands above your head, and then you're going to smack the pile. Whoever is on top gets the cards. Whoever's on bottom loses because their hand gets crushed. The gorilla, you got to hit your chest and do the same thing. The groundhog, you knock on the table with your knuckles, and then you do the same thing and slap the pile. This goes around, like I said, until it gets to somebody runs out of cards. If somebody runs out of cards, instead of flipping a card and putting it on the stack because they don't have any, they're just going to continue saying taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza, or whatever it is. If you're out of cards and you're on the bottom when you slap, then you win the game. That's it. That's how you play. Super simple, super fun. Every time I play this, everybody's laughing. Some people are bleeding. Some people...
You're not playing it right if somebody's not bleeding.
No, that's exactly right.
Broken fingers.
Broken fingers. I play it at my in-laws' house quite a bit. And where we play in the basement, there's a really low ceiling. And every time I do narwhal, I almost punch the ceiling. And I'm so conscious of it that I end up punching myself in the head. And it is just...
it doesn't help that you're like 7 feet tall.
Well, that's true. Not quite 7 feet, but that doesn't help. You're right. But it's a great game. It is what it is. It's just dumb fun, right?
It is, but it's
fun.
Like you said, it's one of those games where everybody's always laughing and always having a good time. We played a different version of it over the break, Santa, Cookie, Elf, Candy, Snowman, which had its own separate 3 actions.
What were those?
There was the drum. You had to tap the table and go ruppa-pum-pum.
So it's gopher with mouth noises.
It's better than the groundhog because you're not using knuckles, right? Gopher. What's the gopher? I don't know.
Then there was Silent Night. You have to hold the finger up to and go shh, right? And then the third one was reindeer. You hold your antlers up to your head, and then it was a blast. We played on New Year's Eve. Had a couple friends over, and it was awesome. It was really funny. This was the first time. I mean, we'd played Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza before, but this is the first time we played Santa, Cookie, Elf, and it was hilarious. Like, just good fun. My wife, Shelly, every time one of the special action cards came up, instead of doing the action, she would say the word out loud. Silent Night, reindeer, drums. And like, it was, it was just, we were just laughing about that so much. And I don't know what it was, but it just didn't trigger.
That's the problem with this game. There's very often when you play it, at least I played it once, but like, I imagine this is the case, that there's often people who do not do well at this style of game. I mean, myself included for the most part.
Oh yeah,
but I think Ben had a rough night too, right?
Yeah,
it was Mark.
Oh, was it Mark? Mark, that's right.
And if you're next to the person that is really having a rough night,
you cash in.
You cash in because you get rid of all your cards. Like my brother-in-law Matt is, he's not good at the game. there's no getting around it. So it's always a fight to see who sits to the left of Matt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is funny. And the experiences that come from the game are just hilarious. Like in Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza, there is a brown goat that
I hate that thing.
kills me every time, right? And for some reason, I want to do a goat, like put my hands on my head and with my fingers up, like in a goat. And that's not even in the game. I don't even know why I do that.
You're making up your own
I'm making
rules.
up my own rules, but that's like what happens when this stupid card comes out, And it's like things like that happen in the game.
What I didn't realize about the game originally, the first few rounds, which was to my utter detriment, because I just kept collecting cards after cards, was the goal is not to be first in that pile with your hand. The goal is just not to be last. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but if you flinch, you take the pile, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're trying to be first, which I was trying a lot to be first, then you're going to flinch at stuff and get a lot of cards without having done anything, right?
Well, and it's hilarious when people flinch and they catch themselves, but it's too late. Just their reaction is it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's one of our favorites. And we play it quite a bit. And that's it's Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, the definition of whimsical.
So I have I'm going to talk about one more game, and this is also a party game, and I don't know if it ventures into the whimsical space, but this is from Exploding Kittens, and it is Poetry for Neanderthals. You have a minute or so to try and get your team to guess as many words as you can, but you're only allowed to use words that have one syllable. So it's really fun. You're trying to get your teammates to guess those words. It's even better when people get into their Neanderthal persona characters and start speaking with a Neanderthal accent, which we do when we play. And it's a blast. It's just a fun, stupid party game. I don't generally love Exploding Kitten stuff, but this game is definitely going to come out in party game situations.
You didn't mention that it comes with a blow up.
It does come with an inflatable club, which you get to smack someone on the head if they say the word or a part of the word. So you're trying to get them to guess either a 1-point word or a 3-point word that's related to the 1-point word. But if they mess up, you smack them on the head. They use a 2-syllable word, right?
Too smart for their own good.
Yeah, right?
You got to knock them silly, right?
And then the best part is at the end of the game, the winner takes, I don't know if this is the best part, but the winner at the end of the game is given a poem that has like fill in the blanks, and they fill in the poem with words that they correctly guessed.
Is that what you sent Logan?
Yeah, that video. Logan.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not going to say what he said, but the poem was hilarious that he came up with.
Funny.
We've played like 4 or 5 times since then, and we can't top that poem, but it was awesome. It was so funny. We were laughing so hard. It was just a fun experience, really dumb game, really simple, but good party game.
I'm generally not a fan of most party games,
right?
But this one sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to give it a shot.
It was fun. So.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that wraps up what we've been playing lately. So we're gonna move on to, since we've been playing all these games, we're gonna talk about all the games we haven't been playing. We're gonna talk about the games we can't get off of our shelves and the top 5 that we'd like to.
All right. Number 5. This game has been on my shelf of shame for the longest of any game that I probably own. I think at this point, there's probably dust on the game. It's been there so long, probably over 10 years. And then the game is 1960, The Making of a President. So this game is about the Kennedy-Nixon election. I don't know much about it other than that. I have played a game called Campaign Manager 2008, which is designed by the same designer, and I really enjoy that game. It's been a long time since I played that one as well. That one is about the Obama-McCain election. I enjoyed it a lot. I know the designers I think Twilight Imperium, one of the designers designed that game.
Twilight Struggle?
Twilight Struggle. Sorry, it's designed that game. There's like Founding Fathers was another one. There's a new one that just came out in 2020, and I'm forgetting the name of that one. But like a prolific designer, is very highly rated. It's definitely one that I'm interested in. I think one of the reasons I haven't got it off my shelf is because it's a 2-player game. And at that time when I got it, it was one of the heavier games that I had. It's, I think, an hour and a half to 2 hours to play a 2-player game. And that's a hard sell for my wife, which was my main gaming partner at the time. I have a few more options now to play. And it's one that I'm definitely interested in and would like to get off the shelf.
Well, I don't think I ever want to play Twilight Struggle, particularly with people who have played it because of that learning curve. And I imagine this one would have some similar experience-based struggles. If you've played it more, you're more adept at it. So I'd be interested in trying this one because I have wanted to try Twilight Struggle, but I don't want to learn it with somebody who already knows.
Yeah, there you go. 2 newbies. Sounds perfect.
I think I'm going to pass on this one.
No? Doesn't interest you at all?
1960.
The theme's not grabbing you?
No, it's not.
No.
It's no
but
Searching
that's
for
okay.
Planet X.
I mean, it's a very highly rated game, and it recently got a reprint.
Wait,
Right?
if you become the president, do you still lose the game because the other guy had better research papers along the way?
Well, a big part of the game, I think, is writing research papers. So maybe it's right up your alley, right?
Sold.
Yeah. So that's my number 5, 1960, The Making of a President.
So my number 5 is far more thematic and one that is just oozing theme. It's Scythe, Rise of Fenris. Now, this one's been out for a while, obviously. I pre-ordered it originally when it came out, and so it sat on my shelf the whole time. Not because I don't want to play it. Rather, it's because I just can't find somebody who hasn't already played this campaign, so I can't really play it again. And I only really want to do the campaign. Like, I don't really want to do the modular integration until I've gone through the campaign because that sounds so intriguing to me. I've read through the first part of it, and I love the whole Scythe world. I've loved everything about it. I may end up having to play this one solo just to get through the campaign, but I'd love to experience the campaign.
I mean, I've played it so long ago that I don't really remember the campaign, so I'd be happy to play it with you.
Even better, I'm only like 3, I think, games into it. So, I mean, there's still undiscovered stuff for me. So I'd be happy. I would
so
be
you guys
happy.
are not letting me.
I would
jump
be
in on
happy
this.
to start the campaign with
It's
him.
not a 2-player game, so this isn't 1960. You're more than welcome.
Oh, okay. Well,
I would love
it
that.
sounded like
Well-
up to this point, Kevin hasn't wanted to play Fenris.
I haven't
with me
because
I
you
played-
you
But I
have
played like
all the spoilers.
3 years ago.
Now,
I don't remember it. 2 years ago.
all
You
the-
know what's in all the
Come out.
boxes, though.
So,
barely.
So to be fair, so do I.
He
you
looked.
opened everything?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
What?
Somebody spoiled it for me, told me basically everything. It was some guy at a con that I was just like,
Some random dude. at a
some
con
random dude who thought,
spoiled
it's
it
great
for
to
you?
just, have you played with this, this, and this, and this? And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Why would you say that? And so I was like, well, now I know everything in the box, so I'm going to look at this cool stuff that's in the box because I don't think I'm ever going to get it played. So it sat on I know what's in the boxes. I don't know anything mechanically about them. I don't know.
To be fair, I probably do as well.
I gave you Scythe faction bags
You did.
1 year.
And you wrapped them separately and said, do not open.
Did you open them?
Well, now I did. I've gotten far enough where one of the spoilers,
Oh, okay.
it makes
I mean, at this
it's
point,
useful to
the
have
game's
bag.
been out for a few years.
I
Like,
know.
Right.
You can't.
It's hard to
couple
avoid
years.
them. And that's my whole point is that it's been so long that I felt, well, I'm just going to spoil it for myself in its entirety. So I get something out of this, whatever $60 purchase that I made that I haven't touched. So
But yeah, it's cool. And those modules some of those are just awesome. The ones that I've discovered so far have been, they're
let's
so cool.
Let's
So
play that.
We should do
Scythe,
it.
Rise of Fenris.
Yeah, let's add it to the list of things we're going to play.
That was my number 5.
So my number 5 is StarCraft, the board game. A few of my games on this list are IP games, and a couple of them are from Fantasy Flight Games, and this is one of them, StarCraft, the board game. I believe it came out in 2007. This was Logan's present from Santa for Christmas in 2020. I don't know how the big guy found it, but he did. It is not in stock anywhere. It's not in publication anymore. I'm not sure that this is ever going to make the cut for being republished, but we still haven't played it. I've read the rules once. It is a complex, beastly game. I think it had a complexity score near 4 out of 5 on BGG. I owe it to Logan and my 1998 ladder-ranked self to get it played. Oh, yeah. That's my number 5, StarCraft, the board game.
I love StarCraft as well. I was not ladder ranked, and I was absolutely terrible at it. And my brother would just play because he got really excited out of destroying me because I was terrible at it. So must construct additional pylons.
Yes. Oh, I was always the Protoss.
Yeah.
Kevin knows exactly what we're talking
Was
about.
this after your time, Kevin?
Right.
You're way too old to understand StarCraft. Wow.
You guys suck. No, I just never played it.
It was
Never
the worst
played it.
when crappy internet dial-up, like, you lost your connection,
connected.
and then you got to
After you're
disconnected or whatever they call it.
right when you're at the climax of you're about to invade a civilization and take over everything.
Tyson remembers crappy internet?
Tyson does remember crappy. Oh, how the tables have turned, I suppose.
Yes. Anyway, that was my number 5, StarCraft board game. I think it'll be a really fun experience. I'm not expecting this to crack my top 30 games, or maybe it will. Maybe it'll be really amazing, but I am excited to play it. Need to get it off the shelf of shame.
Number 4. My number 4 is a game designed by Bruno Cathala, and that is called Yamatai. So Yamatai came out in 2017. It's a big box Days of Wonder game with a pretty quick playtime and a beautiful presentation. So if you've ever seen this game, it looks great. I pulled up on Board Game Geek, the pictures, and I'm like, well, why haven't I played this game? It looks amazing. One of our buddies, Ben, who we talked about on the show, he has played it. He says he likes it. So I think it's time that we get Ben to teach us how to play it. Then that's Yamatai. Have you guys played that one?
Nope.
This came out, I think, right after 5 Tribes. So like Days of Wonder does like a big box game each year, basically.
Yep, right.
And this was the 2017 one. I think the 2016 one was 5 Tribes. And I had played that, and then I saw this one, and it looked similar in some ways, like the color palettes and things like that I was just like, I want to try it, but I haven't.
Yeah, and it's designed by, Shadows Over Camelot is Bruno Cathala, one of our favorites on the show. And, yeah, it looks like a great game. I really don't know why I haven't played it yet. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
So that's my number 4, Yamatai.
So my number 4 is a game that I backed on Kickstarter in 2018, maybe was when the Kickstarter was going. It was published in 2019, and this was a big box minis-centric board game. It's Court of the Dead, Mourners Call. This is published by Project Raygun and Sideshow Bob. Sideshow Bob does a bunch of different collectible items and stuff. So they're known for creating like miniature type of models and things like that. So they have beautiful sculpts. So the minis in this game are just gorgeous, and the production of this game is just phenomenal. Metal coins, beautiful inserts, like player trays, double layered boards, everything about this game's production is gorgeous. I've heard that it's been compared to Blood Rage in a lot of ways, which I love Blood Rage. It's one of my favorite area control map style persons on a map game. And I like this style of game in general. This one I think plays up to 6 players, or plays 5 players, up to 5 players. And I've wanted to play this like in a big group setting, but just haven't had the chance. So it's an area control game, and it has some unique like bidding mechanism in it, but there's also this kind of, it's a competitive game with some cooperative elements into it that you have to work together because you're a faction in hell trying to win the war between heaven and hell, essentially. And what you're trying to do is make sure that you're doing it in a way that I guess is covert enough that not drawing the attention of the powers that be. Otherwise, bad things can happen. Or at least that's my understanding. I haven't played it, obviously. It's on this list. It's gorgeous. I've read the rule book like 3 to 4 times. Still haven't played it.
Did you bring this to the first Cabin Con?
I did, and it didn't get played.
Didn't get any beans or coins.
Did not get
Didn't get any votes.
I probably didn't put a bean on it.
Nope.
I mean, okay.
But I figured if I mentioned, hey, this has got some similarities to Blood Rage.
Well, I mean, that was back before we really started playing Tyson's games.
And it feels,
Right,
it
it
feels
was,
like
absolutely.
now that's all we do, right?
Yes.
Just Tyson's
It's
game.
getting a little overwhelming.
So you guys are now having to catch up and play all the games that I own. So that's my number 4, Court of the Dead, Mourners Call.
So my number 4 is Feast for Odin. This is published by Z-Man Games. This is another beast of a game. Funny story. I was boarding a plane in 2018. I knew that Miniature Market's Black Friday sales were about to go live. So
This was in the heyday of buying.
There were some amazing deals. They had
There were some good deals. Yeah.
They had Pandemic Season 1 and 2 for like $28 or something like that. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I wish every Black Friday was like this Miniature Markets year of 2018 because there were some ridiculous deals. Anyway, I'm boarding a plane, walking down the aisle on Southwest flight, looking for an open seat, trying to get my order in on Miniature Market.
Don't take off. Don't take off.
Yeah, right? Well, I think I had, at this point, I mean, I was going to buy the Wi-Fi regardless, but...
You were spending $30 on the game. Might as well throw
yeah,
$8.
Feast for Odin, the sale went live. Feast for Odin was $30, which it's like a $70 or $80 game, right?
Right.
I mean, you can maybe get it for $65 on a good day, but $30. Hurry got my order in. That was 3 years ago. Still haven't played it. I did message Kevin and I was like, hey, Feast for Odin, $30, get it.
No, you did not.
I did too.
You did not message me. Feast
What
for
I
Odin
should have
because
done was just buy 2 copies.
You should have bought 2 copies.
But I did message you.
Maybe
you'd already gone to bed. But
it was like a few. Was it right away that you messaged me?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as I got my orders done.
That's right. Yeah. You had to do that. It's like put on the gas mask for yourself first.
That's right.
And then take care of everybody else.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I should have just bought 2 copies with how cheap it was, but I didn't. I have the Norwegians expansion. A lot of the games on my list are super complex and heavy, and I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't played them. But this is Feast for Odin, my number 4, my $30 copy that I still need to get played.
Number 3. So my number 3, I think I may have played this game already, but I can't remember for sure. It's been that long. It's probably been at least 12 years. The game is not in BG stats. So if it's not in BG stats, it probably didn't happen, right? At this point.
It's the official record.
It's the official record of board games, right? So the game is Brass Lancashire. I honestly don't know much about this game. I can't talk about the gameplay, how it works. I know Tyler has played, and this is one of your favorites, right?
It is. It's
Birmingham's probably. But you've said you like Birmingham.
It adds
better,
a little
right?
bit more, and I like Birmingham a little more. But I would happily play either one of these.
Yeah,
you taught me this, Tyler, as a 2-player game. Was it Lancashire or was it Birmingham?
It was Birmingham, I believe.
Whichever one it was, I enjoyed it, but I don't remember much about it either. So, like, it's interesting that you say that you've played this, Kevin, or you may have played this and forgot about it. That's kind of how I feel with it, is that I have a vague recollection of enjoying the experience, but I don't remember details about it.
Yeah, it's one of those games you got to play again right away, I think. Otherwise, it kind of fades. There's a lot going on, but it's an awesome game.
I definitely haven't played my copy, so I guess that's why it's on the shelf of shame. It's Martin Wallace, so I mean, we recently played Railways of the World. That's another Martin Wallace design, and
phenomenal.
I mean, he's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's up there in the top 5.
Yeah. So that's definitely one I want to get down and play, and it's great that Tyler knows how. So it might be a little bit easier.
Plus, you got the iron clays, which you can use in other games, which is just those are so awesome to play with.
So good. Yeah. So that's my number 3, Brass Lancashire.
My number 3 is a game called The Golden Ages. And I have the Stronghold box version, and looking at it, I think it rivals Hansa's box, the Dude on Hansa box.
I gotta look this up now.
Like, it's not, like, the art style is not bad. It's just very unique and kind of dry Euro-y things. But essentially what this game is, from what I understand, it's been on my shelf since 2015. I got this game for free after I did enough demos for a company. They sent this one to me for free. And it was one that I really liked because it's a Civ builder, and it's supposed to be a 4X Euro style Civ builder of a sort, from what I hear. And I loved that concept, and I really wanted to try it, and I didn't at that time have any Civ builders in my collection. So this was one that really intrigued me, and I got it, but it sat on my shelf. I can't get it played because, to me, it's ugly as sin, and presenting this to anybody, they can't. Nobody wants to play it because of the way it looks.
I just pulled up. I pulled up the box, and yeah. I mean, what's going on with that lady? and
there's this astronaut.
I'm kind of confused, and yeah, I see the comparison to Hansa Teutonica, right? I mean, I don't know who wins, but maybe they both lose.
Yeah, it's not a winning game right here in terms of who looks the best, because nobody wins. I definitely want to play this one. It's got so much. One thing about it that intrigues me is that you're playing down tiles on a map board, so you're kind of exploring and expanding in the 4X type of genre, and your board is growing, and as you're playing down these tiles, there are land pieces that you're putting on the board, and they create their own kind of continent, as it were. However, they're configured in such a way that, from what I understand, it's either the entire world or the United States can actually be made from the map pieces if you were to configure them exactly correct. That's my number 3, The Golden Ages.
All right, so my number 3, we're getting back into IP territory. This is published by Ares Games in 2012. Another super complex game. It is War of the Ring, 2nd edition. It is a travesty that I have not played this game, with how much my family loves Lord of the Rings. We do movie marathons all the time. I've read the books in English and Dutch. I love Lord of the Rings. I don't know why this game has not been played yet. I bought this in August of 2018. I really don't have an excuse.
You're just speechless at this point, right? You just there's no reason why you haven't played.
Especially since what I hear about this game is that if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, this is the quintessential.
Yeah, it's the
Lord
free
of the Ring
peoples
game
against the the armies the shadow armies, the armies of Sauron, right? And it's a 2-player game, which I play 2-player games all the time with my son Logan. No excuse for not playing this.
It's just a little bit of probably a high barrier to entry, a little bit, right?
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of rules.
It just need to sit down for a couple hours and learn the game.
And it doesn't help that you get 13 different games a week coming to your shelf.
Really harping on I 13. All right. So anyway, as Gandalf would say,
the board is set. The pieces are moving.
We come to it at last, the great battle of our time. Hopefully soon in my basement. I'll be duking it out over the ring. As long as there's not a stupid shadow or tunnel under the mountain card like there was in the Lord of the Rings Risk game.
It'd be kind of funny if there was.
It would, but
I hope that this is a step
That would
up
be a
from Lord of the
table
Rings
flipping
Risk.
moment for you.
it would.
right?
It might be. It was.
And you got a
back
heavy
then.
table, so
That's true. Yeah. No, that's my number 3, War of the Ring.
Number 2. My number 2 is Altiplano. So this game is the game that has come closest to being played on my shelf of shame. I read the rules. I set it all up. I was ready to go. And then life just got in the way, as it does. And it just didn't happen. I'm very interested in it. I love Orleans. I love bag builders. They're just fun. This has got an alpaca on the cover. I don't know if that's a plus or not, but I mean, the box looks cool.
It's no astronaut meets woman on the box.
The art is a little better than what the golden age is, I guess you could say, right? I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it other than I want to play it. It looks awesome. I know this got played at our first Cabin Con up at Fair Play, and it looked cool then. So hoping to get it to the table.
I think I downvoted it.
I
for the
upvoted it.
second one.
Oh, you did?
Just because, I don't know.
Similarities to Orleans? Or?
Yeah, I guess I need to play it and see how similar it really is.
Do you have this one?
I don't.
Shocker.
I've almost bought it a number of times, but the
I got
fact
it on
that I've
sale,
heard,
I think. It was a miniature market, I think it may have.
That's the reason I haven't been like gung-ho about playing it when people have said, hey, this is an option to play tonight, is because of how similar it is to Orleans. And I at the time haven't wanted necessarily. I'm like, let's just play Orleans then, right? So I feel similar, but it is one that I definitely want to experience.
yeah.
But my thought is if I love Orleans and there's a game that's similar to Orleans,
well, and maybe
I probably would love that one as well.
right, and maybe it even is a step up from Orleans.
Sure.
I mean, if that's the case, then awesome.
Who knows?
We just need to
Out of
take
us
that
three,
leap
we
of
don't
faith.
know, right? That's
don't.
why it needs to get off the shelf of shame.
Yeah.
So that's my number 2, Altiplano.
So my number 2 is a game called Crystal Palace. This is a game that I've had on my shelf for the shortest amount of time. I think I got this back in October of 2021. And that's kind of sort of true because it's been the shortest on my shelf of shame, but I've also wanted it since it came out, which it came out in 2019. So when it came out, I was excited about it. I had heard a lot of good things. I had listened to reviews and things like that. And it was one that I really wanted. But my worry was, if I buy this game, is it just going to sit on my shelf? And lo and behold, so far that's proven to be true. I like dry Euros, and that's what kind of this is. So that's my number 2, Crystal Palace.
My number 2 is another IP game from Fantasy Flight Games. It is Imperial Assault. I bought this in May of 2019. I've since added a number of villain and ally packs at various times when they were on sale or when I needed to get over a free shipping threshold. I really want to play this one. I love Star Wars episodes 1 through 6 timeline. Held back a number of times buying some of the bigger expansions that are more expensive with this until I actually get to play it. I know, Kevin, you want to play this one.
Yeah.
You've tried to get it to the table with us and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah. So I've played it. There's the campaign mode and then there's the skirmish mode. So I've played the skirmish mode a few times, which was awesome. It's one of those experiences I played with my wife and she was playing with Darth Vader and she force choked me down the hall and I died and it was amazing because it was so thematic. It was cool, right?
It was cool.
It was awesome. And I always remember that, right? And then there's the campaign side, which I've played through, I think 2 or 3 scenarios of the first campaign. And it's awesome as well. I mean, I don't know why I haven't played it.
This is making me want to play it even more.
Because one person is the Imperial side and the rest are the rebels. And the rebels are going and doing some sort of objective and something triggers and then it gets revealed. Like you open a door and then all of a sudden, all these stormtroopers are everywhere and, So the rebels don't know what's going to happen. The Imperial side knows what's going to happen.
Oh,
so it
that's
just
cool.
it sounds awesome to play. It is what I've played is awesome, and then what I haven't played, I want to play. So I think we should definitely start a campaign.
Yeah, I look forward to playing it. I don't know that it'll take the spot of my top Star Wars game, Rebellion, but definitely interested in playing this one. I have tons of villains and allies to throw in, so let's get it played. That's my number 2, Imperial Assault.
Number 1. So my number 1 game, I bought this game in 2020 at the beginning of the year. And we all know what happened in 2020. It was right before the world exploded and everything shut down. So it was horrible, horrible timing. And now that we're getting together again to play games, it's the perfect opportunity to get off the shelf of shame. And that's Star Trek Ascendancy is the game I bought. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I've watched Next Generation, the movies, the different shows. Picard just started. I love Picard. I'm excited for the next season. So really anything Star Trek I'm interested in. And from what I've heard, this is the best Star Trek game out there. It's a long game. That's one of the reasons why I think it's tough to get to the table. But I remember talking to you guys before I bought it. It's like, I want to make sure you guys want to play if I'm going to buy this game, and you guys are both all on board. It's like, yep, I want to play. It's weird. It's a 3-player game, which is kind of strange, and you have to have 3 players to play it, I believe. I think you can play more if you have
the Ferengi or the...
Well, I think any of the races that you get can add more players, but I think out of the box it only comes with 3. I have the Borg expansion. I think people are a little lukewarm on that from what I've read, but I'm excited to play that. So it looks awesome, and it's one I want to get off the shelf of shame.
This is one that I am eager to play of your collection. Of all the games you mentioned, it sits in your number 1 spot for your games. It's also my number 1 spot of your games, I think, that I'd like to play. I just got a month trial for Paramount Plus so that I could binge Picard, and then when I finished Picard, I just went right into Star Trek Discovery, and I just got caught up on all of Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, you're caught up on all that?
Yeah, and
I'm still behind on that, but I love it.
It is great, and seeing all the races, the Andorians, the Ferengi, whatever other races, or Cardassians, etc. I just want to experience the board game form of this. This phenomenal. I'm excited.
I think this is one of those games where we really just need to set aside like a early afternoon on a Saturday to learn it, knock it out. I mean, I'm not sure it'll take as long as it did for us to learn on Mars, but
I hope not.
Yeah. But no, I think, I'm excited to play this one, and I think that's really what we need to do is set aside a Saturday sometime and just get it done.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start digging into the rules. So that's my number 1, Star Trek Ascendancy.
So Tyler just mentioned On Mars, and my number 1 happens to be a Lacerda title. On my shelf sits Lisboa, and I've had Lisboa on my shelf for, I think it was 2018 that I picked this one up. It was released in 2017. I actually got this in a trade. So I got the Kickstarter version with everything in it, and I got it in a trade. I traded somebody for a base copy of Dominion and Betrayal at House on the Hill.
You win.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the fact that my Dominion copy I had never played, and I picked it up at a garage sale for $1. So I felt very accomplished in my trade for the Lisboa.
Bargain shopper.
I was super excited about this. My wife, on the other hand, was not so excited. She loves Betrayal, or at least in theory loves Betrayal. She doesn't play a lot of board games, and she doesn't play exclusively with me ever. But if ever there were a game that she would have played, it would have been Betrayal. And I got rid of that, and she was worried. She was like, how could you do that? Our kids aren't going to experience this. And I was like, I could pick up Betrayal anywhere for the next 20 years. I can go to Walmart and get Betrayal. I couldn't get this copy of Lisboa. So when they're ready to play Betrayal, we'll play it. So I still haven't played Lisboa, so I don't know if my wife was right or not in that justification. But because I've played the Gallerist and On Mars, and really enjoyed both of those experiences, I'm excited to try Lisboa. From what I've read the rules a couple of times, from what I know about the game, it seems more straightforward than some of those other games. That's not to say it's not super complicated still, but it's more straightforward in what you do. And I'm thinking I need to probably, when my basement gets finished here in the next couple of weeks and I get my table down there, I'm going to set this one up in the vault, and it's going to be my first solo experience so that when we do get to play this one, I'll be ready to teach it and it'll be fresh.
Are you throwing shade at me for my On Mars team?
Not even remotely. I'm just saying that took us a lot longer. And
it does feel like you've been saying your basement was going to be finished for the last few episodes.
I have been saying.
And I am excited for it to get finished.
I am so excited. I love contractors who are very honest on their timelines. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. You mentioned your table, though. It is kind of a big deal, the first real game you play on your table, awesome. Right? Like for me, when I got my table, I'm like, I thought about it hard. Like,
which game am I going to play?
Which game do I want? Well, the first game was Feed the Kitty with my kids, which was awesome. I loved it. But the first real game for me was Anachrony. And I put that thing up in the vault and just looked at it for a while. I'm like, this is awesome, So that's exciting,
I knew
Lisboa was a good choice. That's cool. That's cool.
I knew for me the first one was going to be Teotihuacan. It fit perfectly in my vault, and it's such a beautiful game, I think. And yeah, like you said, that was just exciting to play on your new table. So
I'm excited for you. That's awesome.
I'm excited.
And Lisboa, it's a beautiful game. I mean, some people may not like the art style, I guess, but I think it looks awesome. But I love it.
Regardless of whether or not you like the art style, you cannot deny how intricate and how detailed and like that color palette is chosen very carefully and to make it look really well done. Whether or not you like the whole presentation. So yeah, that's my number one, Lisboa.
So my number one is another beast of a game. Kevin knew I was looking for this game. It was sold out everywhere at the time. He messaged me, hey, there's a guy selling the collector's edition of it. Kind of like I messaged you about Feast for Odin.
That's right. We watch out for each other, right?
That's right. It is Trickerion. I met this guy. It was a few months into the pandemic. Met this guy in the AMC parking lot. Kevin was also there meeting the guy, picking up, what was the Last Will?
Last Will, yeah.
And, I got this beautiful collector's edition game of Trickerion. I missed the game night at Tyson's house where he played this, so I still haven't played it. I spent 3 or 4 hours sorting and sleeving and putting everything into the collector's box, but I still have not played it. From what I understand, rival illusionists who are competing. They're illusions, Michael. You're competing on the stage. Lots of cool expansion. Really excited to get this played. Just has not happened. So
this would have been my number one game, except we got this played a few months back, and it would have been my number one on my shelf of shame as well. I loved my experience with this, so much so, in fact, that after we played, because I had been looking for this game forever. It was my Grail game. I love the movie The Prestige. Yep. I love Illusions. I love all of what goes around this theme. And so this was like, for me, it was a no-brainer. I had to have it. And so I was looking for it, but I couldn't ever find a copy of the collector's edition. And then they redid the Kickstarter and I bought the collector's box for it. I bought a bunch of it. I'm piecemealing mine so that it can be as cool as Tyler's, even though Tyler's hasn't gotten played yet.
It looks awesome. I definitely want to play this one.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the art, and it's a Mind Clash game. You're always going to get an awesome experience with a Mind Clash game. So that's my number one, Trickerion. All right, so that concludes our top 5 Shelf of Shame games that we would like to get played this year. I'm sure we'll follow up in a year and let you know how we did. I'm optimistic.
I think I'm going to get 3, maybe, at least.
I mean, I hopefully get all 5, but
there's so many new shiny things that distract
there
you.
are, but we're cutting back.
We are cutting back.
Dang it.
We are cutting back. There's
no matter what Tyson says, we're cutting back.
That's right.
So we're going to now just briefly mention the Double Snap Award. We recently created this in episode 3. We don't need to rehash it, but basically it's a light bulb awesome play moment. I was playing King Domino Origins with my family the other day, and my son, I mean, to his credit, was having these light bulb moments, these double snap moments for the entire length of the game, but kept it internal. Because at the end of the game, we start tallying up the scores, and he had 10 grassland spaces on his dominoes with 10 fires, which in Origins is comparable to the castles in the base game King Domino, right? So it's a multiplier. He had 10 fires, 10 grasslands, 100-point score off of one region. It was a complete double snap moment, even if he didn't let on that it was happening. And it was funny because earlier in the play, we all, it was our second play of the game, and we kind of mentioned, we're not really looking at each other's tableau of dominoes to see what other people are doing. We weren't hate drafting at all, right? But somehow we let it slip that he got all these volcano tiles, which let him add fires to the grasslands. He scores 100 points, totally destroyed us by like 70 points. It was an awesome moment. High fives all around. That was the double snap for Logan and his awesome King Domino Origins play.
Way to go, Logan. That's awesome.
Those are my favorite kinds of moments.
All right, so now before we close out this episode, we're going to talk about things that we're excited about. Kevin, would you like to go first?
Yeah. The first one I want to talk about is a game called Barrage. Barrage has been out for a few years. I saw it at the game shop in Utah over the break. I went back and forth. I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. It's not the cheapest game at all. The box art really drew me in. I mean, it's not the Golden Age.
No, it's definitely
the Golden
not.
Age is. I mean, it's beautiful. It looks awesome.
That color palette is gorgeous,
yeah. It looks so good. It's a heavy game. I think it's 4 out of 5 on the BGG scale. So that was another reason I was a little hesitant. But the more I learn about it, the more videos I watch, I'm just really excited to get it played, and hopefully it's a good one. So that's one thing I'm excited about is Barrage.
One thing that I'm excited about, and this may sound weird, but I'm excited about chess. And no, I have not watched the Queen's Gambit or whatever recently, and that's not it. But recently there was the World Chess Tournament, whatever it's called. And so I've been getting on our Instagram page a lot of, because I like board game photos and I post a bunch of different things for our Instagram page, but I've been getting a lot of chess, like little challenges where there are Instagram accounts that say, what's the best situation? Solve this chess tactic. And I've been having a lot of fun. I've never been good at like tactical play, particularly in chess. Like I know chess, I've enjoyed it, but I've never played it. And so I got a chess tactics app, and in the last week I got it, and I've been playing. I've probably put 10 hours into that within a week. I've just been playing a ton of chess tactics, and I think I need to play some chess. Weird thing to be excited about, but
I like chess. Logan and I have 40 or 50 plays on BGA. Chess is on there. We'll usually play a game of Res and then a game of chess if we're doing BGA night. So,
see, the thing about this Chess Tactics app is it's actually teaching me some of the terms. You got to do your candidate moves. You got to move it. Yeah. So I don't know much about chess, but I feel like I'm getting to a point where I can actually play the game and see what I'm doing. So I'm excited.
It's probably been 30 years since I've played chess. So, I mean, I know how to play. I've learned it as a kid, but maybe I should pick it up again.
hey, let's play on
I don't know.
BGA.
I'll play it on BGA.
Let's play it on BGA. Let's do it.
We can have a chess tournament.
Whoa. Okay.
Put some money on it.
No.
Let's do it. I like that.
No money? What? Yeah,
I mean, Skittles or M&Ms or eggs or something.
Praga eggs. Praga eggs.
Whatever. So one of the things I'm excited about is another T game in the T series line of games. Most of them, most recently, are from Board and Dice. This is Tiletum that was recently announced. There's not a lot of information available. It'll be out in 2022, hopefully. The designers are Simone Luciani and Daniela Tassini. I'm excited about this game. Tiletum is a dice management game in which dice have a dual function, gaining resources and performing actions. I love Teo. I loved Kenyu. I'm excited to play Tabanusi. I can't wait for another T game in the T series.
I've only played Teo of the T games, and I've only played that on BGA, so I don't feel like
You
I
played
have.
Sulkin one time on BGA with us, didn't you?
Yeah, that doesn't
miserable.
count either. Because
that was
exactly, that
terrible.
was not a great
I
experience.
played it. It's not. That one's not my favorite. I don't love Sulkin.
I know you love T games, and so I want to try them, but I've never been excited about any of them. But I've never played any of them on the table, so you need to bring one to the table and say, this is what we're playing tonight, and I will be happy to try on.
Teo's fantastic. Tekenu, I need to play more.
Yeah.
But the plays that I've had have been great. I see the potential in that game.
Yeah.
And you said you don't have the expansion yet?
No, it still is.
I saw the expansion was at the game shop, and I probably should have picked
Was
it
it?
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's out there, and I'm very interested in any of the T games that come up. So it's awesome.
I'm a willing body, so put one in front of me, and then I'll tell you what I think.
I already did.
No, you
Board Game
didn't.
Arena.
That
That's in front of you.
That did not put it in front of me.
It's such a good game, it doesn't matter that you don't know all the rules. You played it like 15 times with us.
yeah. And never.
You did.
I think I scored over 100 points one
the
time.
the rules are there. You can look at the rules.
I've read the rules like 8 times.
You've read the rules 8 times?
No, I mean, like maybe like in pieces, but I have not. I've read the rules a bunch of times.
I've read 8 pieces of the rules.
I've read the rules in their entirety at least twice, and then I've piecemealed them a number of times when I'm trying to do things. But I've never, because of the way BGA works and the frequency of turns, it makes it hard for me to see the how it all ties together. So I haven't had a good experience with it yet.
That's fair. Yep, that's fair.
Particularly with Teo because of how big and expansive of an experience.
Yeah, I remember
it is.
when we played at Mark's house the first time. It was a big game.
It was.
And there's a lot of rules and stuff to get your head around for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome game.
But it is awesome. Once you get your head around it, it is an awesome game. We need to get another game going on BGA.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a month probably.
Because I've declined every time that you've invited.
Well, there's one.
we just play with Mark.
That's fine.
Yeah, we play with Mark.
Until you put it in front of me on the table.
That's
and
fine.
then I'll play on BGA
That
again.
is fine.
All
That's
right.
fine. All right. Well, the next thing that I'm excited about is Arkham Horror LCG. So recently, Fantasy Flight released a 2nd edition of Arkham Horror. I've always been interested in the game, but when an LCG has been out for a while, and this one's been out for a while, like where do you jump in? Right? It's like
Right.
it's just
It's a little overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. It's like and when I saw that they were doing a 2nd edition, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity, and I wanted to give it a shot. I've heard a lot about the game. It's very highly rated on Board Game Geek. I got quite a bit of the Lord of the Rings LCG when it came out, and I played that a lot, and I really enjoyed that one. Didn't collect everything, but I liked playing it, and I liked the deck building part of it. So I'm excited to see how this one is different. I'm excited about the story, the campaign. I like the Arkham horror mythos and the whole, everything around it. Cthulhu Death May Die is one of my favorite games, and I just love that. It's cool, and it's something that interests me.
Wait,
and
is that Arkham Horror right there? Is that the game you're talking about?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't even know I had it. We should play sometime.
Yeah, we should absolutely play sometime.
One of my coworkers gave that to me. It's a used copy. I didn't buy that one.
I was going to say, you have so many games, you don't even know what the games are at this point.
I also have the Final Hour one, but I haven't played that yet either.
I also have the first edition.
Sorry, wasn't trying to throw you off.
No.
I was looking at you, and it was directly above your head. And I was like, oh,
there it is.
That.
So, yeah, I mean, first edition, but yeah, you still got it.
I also have that
Which
same
doesn't
copy.
matter because nothing changed.
Okay, good.
And the box changed, right?
So what changed? What kind of drives me nuts about Fantasy Flight, and this is how it was in Lord of the Rings, is in order to get all of the cards that you could use to deck build, you have to buy 2 core sets, which is stupid. And it plays up like Lord of the Rings plays up to 4, but not out of the box. You got to buy 2 core sets to get up to 4. What these new second editions do is they give you enough cards to play 4 players out of the box, right? Which is what they should have done all along. Plus, how they're releasing the expansions, they're releasing the whole campaign all at once instead of all these
piecemeal,
all these little expansions. And they're separating the campaign with the investigators. So you can, if you just want a deck build, you can get the investigators with all their cards. If you want to just get a new campaign, you can buy the whole box and get the campaign. So it's kind of a cool thing what they're doing, and it's, like I said, a good jumping off point.
That is cool. And that's exciting because I can still bring I have my first edition copy, and I can still play with you using my stuff.
Yeah,
which,
from what I understand, but I'm pretty sure.
Which would be great because, so I've only played the core box, and I played through the whole campaign in the core box, and I loved it.
Awesome.
Fantastic. It was a great experience, super thematic and like tense moments, but I've only played it. I played it primarily solo, and I played it with 2 people once, and the person I played with, it wasn't as invested as I was in it, so it wasn't as good an experience at 2 players for me. So I would love to play this with you at some point.
Yeah, and I'm more interested in the co-op. I'm not opposed to doing it a solo campaign as well. But yeah, I'd rather play it co-op, I think. So yeah, I'm all for that. And you actually have the game, so
I can play too.
Yeah, there we go.
And this is the one of the rare instances where it's okay that we all have the same copy of a game,
right? Because you can build your own deck.
Didn't the Lord of the Rings LCG just get revised as well?
Yeah, they did, and I think I want to say it's in the next few months or something that it's going to be released.
Okay. Are you guys interested in that one too? Or?
Well, like I said, I have all of the base stuff already, so I'm absolutely interested. Okay. I would play that. That one's it's not real. Well, it is kind of a campaign. I don't know how it's different from Arkham Horror, but I mean, each separate scenario you can just play. Yeah.
I would be interested in playing both.
I'd rather play Journeys in Middle Earth.
I would love to also play that, which you have. Right?
I have Journeys of Middle Earth.
Is it on your shelf of shame?
No, I played it solo, and I'm a little lukewarm on it. But
they revised the app, and that made it much better.
Right. So I would be willing to play that for sure. So we should break that one out.
We all need to take a couple weeks off from work and just
play board games.
I just
be kids again.
I just did that. Though.
That's called Cabin Con. We need to do another
stop
Cabin
going
Con.
out of town, everybody, and stop getting sick. And we could play more games.
So the last thing that I'm excited about, I've mentioned on the podcast before that I work with publishers, or I have had the opportunity to work with publishers. And in particular, I work with a lot of publishers in Asian countries, specifically China. One of those publishers that I have had the opportunity to kind of work with is a publisher that is kind of getting into board games. They're historically known for escape rooms. So they actually have escape rooms across the world, including in the United States. They have one in like the Bay Area, in New York. I think they have one in Florida. The company's called OM Escape. That's OM, the letters Escape. And what they do is create these really thematic, engaging escape rooms. Well, what they wanted to do is they created in China a very successful escape room-esque style experience, and they're calling it a puzzling journal. They've created this beautiful journal, and they sent me a prototype copy. The one that I'm playing is called The Missing Detective, and there's about 35 different puzzles in it. I've solved 32 of them so far. They're still working on a couple things with the app, so I'm working with them to help ensure that things are going well there. But essentially, it's a game where I can just play it. Like, there is no need to read any rules at all. They sent me a box. In the box was a journal and a key, and that's it. And then I open it and I start reading and I start solving puzzles. And there's a QR code to scan for an app. Then you download the app and you're off to the races. And this has been a fantastic experience. If you like solving puzzles, if you like escape rooms, you need to be on the lookout for this one. I'm just excited that I'll be able to get this. Rumor is they may have a Marvel license as well at some point. So I'm excited to see what this company does with these puzzling journals.
That's cool. This sounds awesome. My wife loves puzzles. I like puzzles too, but she's really into them. It sounds like something right up her alley.
The way it does stuff is like it turns your perspective on its head, and like you have to physically change things. You have to utilize your surroundings. You have to do a ton of different things that makes these experiences completely immersive. And then the app is creating this narrative experience where you're trying to figure out what happened to this missing detective. So it's completely narrative, and not only just are you solving puzzles. So like if you've ever done an escape room and you're going through and they've created that narrative of what's going on in your escape room, like I did a Jurassic Park escape room and they have this cool narrative, exactly like that type of thing. And it's I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, sounds great.
I think that about wraps it up for this episode 4.
So as always, we want to invite people to keep an eye out for us in all the places. We started doing a Board Game Geek blog, as Kevin mentioned earlier, that we're adding additional content from our individual perspectives on topics that we've talked about, as if you don't hear enough from us already in the length of time we put into this podcast. We're also going to be writing up reviews, and we're writing up just blog posts on different things. We've got each of us has a list of best games from 2021, our top 5, and things that we're looking forward to in this coming 2022 year. So check us out on BGG, the Longest Turn blog. Also, don't forget to check us out at our guild. We have more than one member now. So it's really exciting.
More than one member that's not us.
That's not us, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Because we're members.
I think we're at 5.
We're at 5 members. So we're steadily growing in our guild. Guild 3947.
Steadily growing.
I mean, we're keeping pace with our episodes, 1 per episode, right?
That's true. I mean,
if some of our blog readers would join, and
Yeah.
I mean, we
helpful.
would love to interact more with people that are listening to the podcast. So, yeah, join the guild, and
So you can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We've got social media accounts there posting pictures of our plays. In addition, we all have BGA accounts, and I'm always looking for more people to play with. So if you want that, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to play a game on BGA. We'd love to interact with you more. And until next time,
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy, great, and amazing 2022.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
so long.
Dag.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Bill.
The Keats. So a game that I've recently become heavily invested in, speaking of being... Nope, we're starting that.
Didn't Jurassic Park come out when you were like 4 or 5?
I didn't know what your joke was.
Hey, like,
What the heck are you doing?
This only happened on my part. You realize that. You always...
Let's take a turn. My God. Well, words hard.
did you see me?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you were going
And
red.
I was
I couldn't look at you. I was
know, I
like
had a
laser
good-
focused right here. I'm
like, all right,
I
I'll have
see
this
him.
conversation with Kevin.
He is laughing, and I'm not going to laugh. I don't know why that is. Like one time, what did you do? You
I
like
dropped my phone.
you like went bam and hit the mic or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, that's
possible.
It's possible.
Like,